I wish you would have told me that though.
What I was supposed to tell you?
Well, I wouldn't have made you wait while I combed my hair had I known that you guys were going to be haphazardly sitting together in an awkward positioning so that we could
What?
use it for the internet.
Well, we're recording now. There we go. Is that hot? That's higher. You said you like the angle more, or just
No, angle's fine. It is a little bit weird that it looks like an Olin Mills photograph. You're looking across pane with the right side of your face while
yeah. We need to double
Danny is looking straight at us.
right there. Bam. How's that?
That's better. I know it's a little weird. You guys are in the same room. And then the one guy's like sitting kind of behind you, like you're on like some sort of weird train. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I'm the pull it up Jamie guy. I'm going to be talking to him
Okay.
like this and to
Yeah.
you like this. But I think the conversation's already started.
What's what I'm saying? The conversation didn't require me to comb my hair. It didn't require me to be like, give me a second. Because I could have just worn the beanie because we could have just edited out all the video stuff, but it's fine. Here's the beauty behind editing a podcast. You can cut all this out in post. So it doesn't matter.
Yep.
We can't. It's recording.
It's up. Or we can let the, did you catch that?
We can. I didn't because he's too far away. Anyway.
No, his should have picked up his own fart.
Fart cancellation.
AI fart cancellation, which we all know is all Alexa is good for anyway, is
fart cancellation.
Yeah. And then when you make her whisper too, it was just incredibly inappropriate
Yeah, have
thing.
you seen that video of the dude telling Alexa to talk dirty? Still whisper.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen the talk dirty one, but I have seen the whisper ones where she's like calling out different kinds of farts in a whisper, and it makes it really uncomfortable really fast. It's really uncomfortable because like, I don't think that AI overlords understand the subtlety of comedy yet. They're working on it, but it's like yeah,
It'll happen.
there's something wrong with this. And are you ready? Do you have like a instant edit button? Weirdest boner I ever got.
I don't think
Just
so.
saying. Just
I know we're going to get into other things, but I was just looking at Power Sports business. Did y'all see Sonic Power Sports sold 1,100 bikes at Sturgis?
What the?
Just the
Sonic?
holy shit.
How did
10-day event.
dude, so we did Daytona Bike
Wait.
Week.
I'm not seeing your audio do the thingy thing. I'm not
What
seeing your
thingy
audio
thing?
show up. Next to the audio button, hit the arrow up and make sure you have the right one selected.
But we can hear it.
I can hear
Yeah.
you, but I can't see the audio.
I can see it on my screen.
Okay. As long as you're on yours. Sorry for technical
Stop
stop.
to make sure that he's.
I think there's a technical, what is that? A momentum killer? Anyway, when we were at Daytona Bike Week,
on the screen.
with motos, we had a huge blowout sale there and we sold a bunch of bikes. I think we sold 30 over the weekend, I want to say, which was crazy. But what blew my mind the entire time, who buys a motorcycle when they're out of their home city at a motorcycle event?
It's like buying luggage at the airport. You're like, did you just bring the clothes?
100% like buying luggage at the airport, because some people were like, here's my old luggage and I don't want it. I brought it from home to the airport. And on the way here, I thought, fuck this luggage. And then they bought new luggage at the airport. The other part were people who were like, no, are you kidding me? Love this luggage. Use this your luggage every day. This is my luggage. Send that luggage back to my house.
What I want to know is how did 1,100 bikes to sell?
Yeah.
Oh, it says across its 5 dealerships.
Okay, well, that doesn't count. That just means they had a busy weekend.
No, I mean, that's still 200 something dealers on average, or 200 something units on average per dealer.
You do math good. That was fast.
Hey,
that is a lot.
Let's get into what we're doing here.
Let's do it.
Okay, so I think what we should do today as our first podcast about this is recognize who we're talking to. the people that are going to watch this are the guys that are in our cohort, the guys that we're starting our first Ownex group with, right? That's who it's meant for, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
We now have 7 dealerships, and I'm not going to name the stores just in case, but I want to say at least like the states they're from to kind of lay the groundwork. We're in Louisiana. You're in California. We're going to have a store from Washington, a store from Oregon, a store from New York, and a store from New Mexico. Is that everybody?
I think so.
That's
Oregon.
6.
Oregon
Yeah.
is new.
Greg
Is not in Oregon.
is outside of Portland, isn't he?
Who? Greg? Who?
Greg, or I guess we're giving it away now.
No, we
Greg
can edit
Anderson?
this part out.
Greg Anderson.
No. Greg Anderson's Washington still. He's way north. He's almost Canada.
Oh, okay. I thought he was in Oregon.
No, he's above TOS. So he's Greg Anderson's going to be at it.
I think so. That Greg,
Well, this whole thing had to be edited out. This isn't going live right now on the internet, so we can fix this all.
That's a lot of
yeah.
followers. They're all watching the live. I pulled the back
here.
here.
Yeah, that's I saw that. Did you get it? Those are the worst, dude. Yeah, because you just basically,
just a hair.
Yeah, the problem is when you get them wrong with the fingernail, you yank on them. They basically effectively do the Christmas wrapping paper trick with the scissors on the ribbon that goes, and then it turns it into like the sparking corkscrew. Yeah, and then you're done, dude. Then you're done. Then you need tweezers. You have to tweeze. Here's a question for you. Start that again. Say you start that again. Okay, pretend like this is the first time, and say the whole thing.
Oregon?
It isn't Oregon. It's Washington. It's Washington, New York, New Orleans, New Mexico, and California.
California, Washington, Louisiana, California, Washington, New York, and New Mexico.
Yep. And then
Is that
that is all of them. Yeah. Because there's 2 in California. There's 2 in Washington. There's 2 in New York, depending on which one he puts in. There is your store and Champions. So that's all of them. The but then what I would say is I guess here, just edit. Sorry, not what I would say. My question is, what Justin do you want? Okay, because I did a podcast with regular Justin. It is almost unusable for anybody but the apparently the young Republicans. I don't know. There's a joke, but it's pretty terrible. And so, like, you know me, I have the ability. Like, can I say the F word or should I not say the F word? Like, because we can bleep it out, but
yeah, I mean, let's show up
middle Justin.
Let's do middle Justin, and because I don't think removing curse words is like actually real life. So I want it to be more like real life. We're not kids listening to this podcast, but I do want it to be, if your kid's in the car, it's not like fuck, fuck, you know, the whole time.
Yeah. So not quite what offends Sam Dantzler, but what offends maybe not your kids, maybe. So like because your kids don't get offended, in like in a 20 group meeting, but not in a 20 group after party.
Yes. There you go. 20 group meeting level conversation. For all the analogies, stuff still work.
Got it.
Okay. So
you want to, so let's talk about, Max, let's talk about what we're doing here.
Here's the idea. I'll give a little bit short background because I know I'm going to go over some of this stuff with the group when we do introductions. But, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we should have 8 or so, 7 or 8 stores that we're meeting with on Tuesday. So coming up for the very first meeting. And the objective is a couple things. First off, it is a chance for us, me, Danny, and John Franco. I shouldn't say that. It's a chance for what I now have. It's a chance for me and Danny and the GM here at the store to kind of have a group to hold ourselves accountable to. And the way that the reason that's happening is because, as you know, but I'll say out loud, Danny and I stepped back into the old dealership that I used to own, that Danny used to work for, to put in place some of the stuff that we've been studying across dealerships, across the entire country. So we've done about 20 of these really, really in-depth studies called Delve analysis, where we look at the financial health and the inventory health and the sales penetration health across all departments. We look at we interview staff, we do a cultural analysis of the team. We then study the customer base, and the whole objective is to identify what grows loyalty inside of a dealership. And so what thing is making more loyal customers? How do we track what loyalty looks like? How do we track profitability in those customers? And then how do we make that better over time? And Danny and you as well, Justin, the three of us, I've always had these ideas of what we think should work. And here's what we should be doing. And here's how it should be operating. And then when we try to get that stuff pushed through in stores, we can do the change in our own operations, but there's still all these hurdles. And then when we try to convince people in other dealerships, hey, this is the way that it should be done, it's harder because they don't have evidence to go against. We're still asking them to take these really bold steps, and these there's no way for them to track the progress to even say, did this hard thing I just did actually make a change? So we are right now, and you are, Justin, in your store, we are trying new stuff, and we're dramatically changing job descriptions and shop processes and the tools we're using for the shop. And we're just trying everything because we know that right now the store and the industry is struggling to not just sell products, but we're struggling to maintain customers, to keep customers in the
relevance. Yeah. No, and
so,
I hear it a lot even from customer perspective as well.
Yeah. The experience just isn't what it should be.
It's globally.
Yeah. So the idea is, what if we got a group of other really sharp dealership operators together, and we just started a group, and that group was all kind of similar volume stores, all those stores, in the couple hundred unit or 300 to 500 or 600 units. We're not huge operations. You're operations that are going, 12, 15 employees at most. Some of them are a little bit smaller. So that means we need to be even scrappier. And so if we get a bunch of those types of GMs in a room and we meet twice a week, then maybe we can help them study their store in the way that we've been doing these Delve analysis, and start looking at their store more objectively. And then we can help them make a plan, just like the plan that we have, just like the plan that you have. And in this plan with these super big, bold steps, we can meet every 2 weeks and say, okay, this is what you found. This is the plan you made. How's your plan coming along? We can hold each other accountable. We can share what worked and what didn't. We can create things that will help each other. But it's part support group, part innovation lab, part a way for what sometimes feels like a burnt out manager to be able to focus on what's the most important thing right now.
I think the big thing is we yank people out of the weeds. And we show them look, a holistic view of your operation. Let's focus on the three big things. Let's get the three big things that are going to give you the best ROI, that are going to be sustainable and long-term.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make a roadmap. Let's knock it out in 3 months, 6 months, and let's hold each other accountable to make sure that we execute that roadmap. At the end of that roadmap, we reassess, we hit the next big things.
Yeah. It's a re-engagement tool. It's funny. I had a customer the other day approach me and tell me that they were interested in buying a super bike, and they were looking at all the competitive super bikes. Right now, we all know superbike sale is a big deal. If you can throw a couple on a month, it really tips the scales, because large displacement superbikes and all the makes and models have the really high, I was going to say the highest, but it's not true. The really high margin, right? Really high revenue for the store.
Yeah. And
in European. And he told me that he was comparing all of them. He ended up at my store and was having a hard time getting callbacks. And it was some of my competition, which thankfully I'm buddies with all my competition. It was even a sister store that I know intimately that he literally was leaving messages. He went in and didn't get talked to on the floor. And I was thinking, and I was like, man, this sounds like old motorcycles, old motorcycle dealerships, like way pre-pandemic, way long time ago, be when the heyday kind of tapered off, and we had to work really hard to get sales again, right? And I was blown away because I'm so close to it that I was like, how's that a possibility? Because we all talk, all these dealers, we talk about how slow it is and how hard it is to sell motorcycles right now. And for me, it really resonated with this just lack of engagement in the fix. And I think that there's a point where we all are enthusiasts in here's a weird analogy, but like if you've ever built a model, right? Like one of those like a Tamiko or whatever, I can't remember what the name is, but where you like have to cut all the pieces out and you sand them and you glue them together. What is the name of that company? I don't know. Yeah,
Great.
I don't know. We're gonna go with Tamiko. But
Tamiko.
all of us who have
Looking
ever look it up. Yeah. All of us who have ever built one of those models have gotten to a point in the process where you have to, the only way to do it in a really, really good way is to hard work on it. Is to spend a lot of time sanding it or painting it or gluing it properly. And I don't know. I guess I can't speak for everybody, but a lot of my models came out kind of roughly glued together and never painted. Because once it came to the hard work part, it wasn't as fun anymore. I wasn't engaged in the end result. And it would have been really good to have a model support group. Okay.
Yeah.
But like basically what we're talking about, right?
You're right, dude. It's the model support group I see as like
Tamiya.
Tamiya.
And then
TAMYA from
Pretty close.
Japan.
yeah, there's probably
Heritage
another one.
Plastic
Yeah,
model. So Justin was a rich kid.
If I no, if I were to look around, I think they're the only ones who make two-stroke GP bikes. That's why it even because I did a series.
And
Yeah.
Okay, so that exact same idea I want to piggyback on, because when I started teaching at the Service Management Academy, the Garage Composites, I was still a service manager, right? Like the first course that we were in, I was a manager. I would go in, would have these courses, and like, there's stuff that needed to be covered. Like one of them was leading a team and like creating change and how to be a manager and how to be a leader. And to be completely honest, I was a horrible manager. I was a bad, actually, that's you. Do you agree with that?
no, he was the best manager of all time.
I was a shitty manager.
Yeah. No, I've heard all the stories.
Still am not a great manager. But one of the reasons was, I was a super hothead. Like something went wrong, I would get really pissed off. And still, like, I struggle with that. Still, I look at the service repair order list and I'm like, we have how many of these repair orders parts came in for this past weekend and none of it got scheduled? None of it. And then just checks were just in and out. Like I was very pissed just a few days ago about this exact thing.
Yeah.
But point is, when I joined that class, like when I was like a part of the class, I realized that I was going to have to tell my story about when my expediter crashed a motorcycle and how I handled the situation. I was going to be responsible for that moment later on. And that is honestly the only thing that ever made me a better manager. Because like I read books and I was like, well, maybe I need to go to therapy, and like I did, and that kind of, but not enough. But one of the biggest things was knowing that I was going to have to hold myself accountable in front of people that I'm going to tell the story to. And I feel like when we start sitting in a meeting and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. And actually, dude, the first 90 days of making this store break even, which is how this all started. The first 90 days, I had to, on a weekly basis, look back at the 6 things we promised we were going to do and make sure that I could have a good next step on there. Okay, we accomplished this week. Like it had to be something positive.
What about like looking at it this way? For me, it has helped. So I think there are two different conversations in every dealer. Well, there's a lot of different conversations, but there's two different kind of ideas that I've seen enter into a dealership. And to like throw a little bit of history back, just to put it out there, we've all been doing this since 2003, 2004 for me,
2002 for me, yeah.
2002 for you. So like we've seen economic swings. We've seen, recessions. We've seen all sorts of stuff. We've seen the pandemic, everything in the industry. And it's always kind of been two different conversations. You've got this conversation that's a little high level, right? It comes from this 20,000 foot view, and it's normally happening with the dealer principal and that dealer principal's peers. Then that information gets translated down to the boots on the ground guys, right?
Yeah.
And there's always a disconnect between the obviousness of just call your customers back and the reality of what you're doing all day, because it kind of comes off accusatory of like, even with that service guy, like what happened? What, you just sat there all day, you didn't do anything. But then if you put yourself in that guy's shoes, your service writer, that isn't true. He probably did do a bunch of stuff. It was just a little bit maybe misdirected or compounding problems that caused this horrible inefficiency. But that conversation very rarely connects. And I think that the truth, the magic behind what we're going to do in this group is going to be taking that high level, because we're capable of all that. We have those conversations all the time. We take that high level principle conversation, we distill it down to a consumable plan that has actions, right? And then we translate that plan to the people who actually have to do the work, right? So like, as a good manager, you can read all the books. I've learned over the years that it boils down to three things, right? It's expectations, it's tools, and it's accountability. And if your team has all three of those things, they will be successful on the plan. The expectations of what is required, what are you going to have to do, the tools of how you're going to get there, right? Be it software, this is where that's what reins in crazy expectations, right? So if your expectations as an owner is to sell 600,000 motorcycles, well, do we have the tools to do that? Do you have the facility?
Do the
Do you have the right? And then you've got accountability. Are you making the steps along the pathway in real time? And I think that's the missing part of the conversation. I think if we go back to when it was easy and when it was hard again, I think that's what gets lost. When it's easy, which it was a while ago, right? When it's easy, you lose some of those intermittent steps because it's just, hey, do this, okay. And then your staff either gets really used to it or is forged in that and doesn't realize that when it gets hard, there is a very different set of actions that need to take place to continue success. And so I think that like, if you go through and do a very high level delve analysis of a dealership, it's incredibly high level. We do a really good job, I think, of digesting that down into an understandable, very simple format. But then from there, the execution of that plan requires daily conversation, like you're saying, right? You were saying you have to look back on your 6 steps and you have to realize you have to be held accountable to other people. Well, that's what's been missing. Okay. Because like all the 20 groups and all of the high level conversations in the world can't fix the fact that a guy walked through the front door looking for a super bike and hasn't gotten called by starving motorcycle dealerships. That isn't because it's not because they suck. It's not because they're bad at it.
Bring up, Justin, I agree with everything you said about making sure you have the tools, the expectations. But one of my big gripes, like something that bugs me whenever we go to these, industry conferences, speakers on stage, not Max, but there's so much talk about, yes, our people just aren't calling customers back. They just aren't doing this. So just get them to do that. Like, okay, that's the high level problem. Let's find the root, we have to identify the root cause of the problem. So we can come up with expectations and tools and everything, but I think the step before that is, why aren't they doing this? And there can be a ton of reasons. It might not be the person in the position. People may need to be moved around the sales floor. Like, there's so many things that need to be looked at to make sure that you've done everything you can to set that person up for success,
Yep.
and then give them the tools, expectations, everything else.
I think, and honestly, I think what you're saying is rhetorical, so I'm not actually going to answer, but my thoughts on it are that there's a lot of mixes there. There's a lot of people who maybe shouldn't need to be moved around and that kind of stuff. But truthfully, for me, they don't have anything to talk about, right? Like it's rejection is heavy when it's hard. And if you have a staff that isn't used to that kind of rejection, we come from like the Cutco knife generation where it was a numbers game. You just banged on doors until somebody bought knives, right? And neither of us, we didn't sell Cutco knives, but I could have. I remember you have to do handle first. It's not blade first because then it's an assault charge. Yeah, it was something weird. With the advent of the Ring camera, it became very important to go handle first because
You're
like
talking about that
outside.
specific example.
Yeah.
I'm more saying like in general, like if there's a problem with proficiency in the service department, some people might look at that and just say, my techs are slow. Like that's the problem.
No,
My
but
techs
that's
suck. Like, well, let's dive deeper and see what the root cause is. Are you quoting correctly?
right. Are
Probably.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, and yeah. I always come at it from
There
the
can be
sales
some
side, but
different reasons.
you're right.
Every problem. The point is, don't start with the problem and just be like, that's the problem. Find the root cause and dig into each problem, which is what we do whenever we get these LSCs.
Yeah.
And that's what the roadmaps are based on.
Which is
Solving
why,
root causes of the problem.
yeah. And then identify, what's the ROI to solve this big problem? How do you find the root cause and then solve that problem? And then we, what I'm really excited about for us to be doing with this group is not just the, checking in and processes so far. Like, hey, it's been 2 weeks since we talked to you. What's going on now? I'm also really excited to start tracking metrics between the stores. So we start saying like, all right, well, let's start logging hours to repair order, or let's start logging your conversion rate from greets to deliveries or greets to write-ups. So like, let's put that in the goals, because those daily inputs should start showing us the effect of the like daily changes that you're making. It's not just you and I, Justin, you and I grew up in 20 club meetings. So like, I love composites. I love looking at the numbers in that large format. I think it's like it's hard to measure a P&L in anything more granular than a month, because the mortgage hits once a month and payroll is twice a month. And like, so you got to look at it as that full picture, but all these little metrics take place in between them. Like, how many repair orders do we have today? Like, what was the average hours per repair order? How many hours did we bill versus how many were available? We can look at that on a daily basis and start to see a trend like really quickly. Within a week, we can see like, oh, the thing you changed made a difference. Great example. Dude, I was training the service advisor here yesterday. I had to take a break, go downstairs, had a customer who wanted to see me, hang out with him for a bit. I come back up and he's like, oh, so I just did the YMCA that you just literally, I was like in the middle of explaining. He's like, I just did it and sold like 3 more things. I was like, okay, sweet. So then we go down and put the numbers on the board.
To be clear, that's a sales process and service.
Oh yeah,
man, not the dance.
Oh, dude, just called up a customer like,
I did it and it worked.
Wait, you guys didn't tell about the weird rhythmic witchcraft that we do in the program as well, where there's a series of dances. One is YMCA. You do the chicken dance if you want to sell more F&I product. And then there's another one for sales. Is it the Macarena? I think we're doing the Macarena for sales. Of course. But either way, you just get, no. The attention is a huge, dude, this is, right. Like, if anybody listens to this that knows me well, they're going to hate me after I say this, but for years we were told a lot of like really cheesy sales stuff. Have you ever heard of the 212 degree thing? Yeah. So I had a boss a long time ago who ended up being a great boss. At the time, didn't like him. Afterward, I really understood what he was doing the more I matured, but he used to tell us all the time, 212 degrees, you create civilizations, right? You can drive steam engines, you can build buildings, and at 211 degrees, all you have is hot water. That 1 degree of separation. And like, man, when you're in your 20s, I was like, shut up, but it's true. It's true. It's so stupid, but the attention of saying YMCA to a guy, showing it to him, having him try it, and it works every time because it's not the snake oil. It's a thing that works. All of the ideas work.
It is just a process. You follow the process, it works.
If you and your team are getting beat down for a long period of time, you stop doing those things with vigor. You stop believing in them. You stop trying because it's that extra 1% and it's hard. And a group like this gives you that energy, that attention to focus on that extra 1%. Just reporting your numbers. We've proven this over and over again. When we did CMW, which was a dealer group that we worked on together, it did immense for the bottom line, just having them report their numbers and competing with each other. They were reporting their numbers daily. They were looking at them. Our daily report was not in any fashion necessarily tied to the P&L. I mean, it was because performance.
Yeah, it was about action, not the result.
They'd go and run the report in reverse and they'd be like, oh, well, this didn't equate for warranty work and this. And it was like, doesn't matter, bro. Doesn't matter. Yeah. All your numbers are up because you guys were watching the numbers as you're putting the numbers in. And the little ancillary stuff effects,
popcorn effects. Yeah.
Did you say popcorn effect? Is that like the 212 degrees? Like at like 200 degrees, it's just hot kernels,
caramel, butter, whatever you want.
It's popcorn effect, right?
At
212 degrees, there's an explosion of starchiness, which is money in your pocket.
Hawthorne is in your favorite band, Hawthorne
Heights. Yeah, no, I never heard of it.
Some old screamo band from the early 2000s. I figured that.
I know. Yeah, you're Hawthorne Heights is. I'm trying to pretend that I'm not.
What does the Hawthorne effect say? The Hawthorne effect refers to the phenomenon where people modify or improve aspects of their behavior simply because they are aware they're being observed or measured.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it. I think that's a big part of it, and it's
isn't that. That's the OnlyFans effect. We were talking about that earlier. Well, are you going to have to edit that one out? Maybe. Sorry.
I mean, this is going straight to OnlyFans. So,
nice.
Right. Is Josh Heron still the OnlyFans guy?
Josh Heron?
Josh Heron's on OnlyFans?
Yeah. Josh Heron.
The racer?
Like his big sponsor was
OnlyFans. Oh, I thought you meant he had an OnlyFans.
I think he has one.
Well, I'm sure he does. OnlyFans is for creators. Don't get all it's got its things, but like there's
whatever you want to call it.
Well, Justin, you can confirm or deny that for us later. Do some research.
Yeah, I'll send you some videos, dude. Don't be scared. It's fine.
I mean, that's what you guys
be surprised what you're into.
I made, right? Yeah, that's about the OnlyFans that I made.
No,
we were
sober.
Yeah, obviously. Every time I was not drinking, I thought it would be a great idea to start an OnlyFans called the Archangels, where it's only AI generated feet, and they're always really messed up. And so I started. I could never figure out how to post OnlyFans. So
arch like the feet.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty inebriated when I come up with this idea. So I don't really like every time I try to do I can't figure out OnlyFans.
Also, to be fair, you're AI generating feet, so you're probably that you're just yelling at your computer at that point. Yeah, you're just like Gabriel's feet on the internet, and like your wife's like, come to bed, guys. Come to bed. It's late.
Okay, so this first meeting is
now over.
Coming up. We got a couple days. So here's some other things that I'm really excited about. We've got, we've spent this time in Moto Julia. I'm saying the story now. In Moto Julia.
Well, okay. First off, people are going to know you what you're doing, and they're going to know what I'm doing. So that's cool. We have other stories that we're going to leave Scuderia. We're going to leave. It's up to them. If they,
if they want to. I don't see why they wouldn't want to.
I mean, it's okay. But we'll just let them make that decision. I also think too that like the whole like competition thing with dealers in the same city, I think that's all silly, very silly. I don't care. I think if anybody wants to see my very, very personal details of finances, let me know because maybe you can help. No, but really, there is no secret. There's no secret It
Yeah.
is, except for what we're doing is a secret. But other than that, no secrets.
So my point was, we did this thing here in Moto Julia. We are continuing to improve that. And this 3-month stint. So Q3 was us making it break even. Q4 is like, okay, our objective is to improve the ownership experience, which is what the company is named after, Ownex.
Yep.
And so we are now looking at every single process from that viewpoint to say, okay, how does a customer want to schedule something? Like, what does a customer expect as far as timing and service? And the comparison I want to make now is that yesterday I ordered something on Amazon at 7:30 in the morning. It showed up to me by 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That is what our customers are used to. So why does it take 2 weeks for us to get something in and get the parts that it needed because we didn't have them in stock, to then forget to reschedule it? So like, how do we make an experience that's on par with the lifestyle choices that the customer makes in the rest of their life? So in order to do that, though, we got to try totally new shit. Because like, if we're using the current tools and the current processes and the current staffing and the current model that we currently do now, we know that the best operating versions of that still take 2 weeks on average to get the bikes in and out of service. There's still a 2-week long wait to bring it in. There's still these bottlenecks. And so it's like, okay, we're not going to solve the problems we have now with the solutions we have. We're going to solve them with solutions we're coming up with and trying and being creative about. So there's us, the three of us. There's the rest of our team. Our Marks, the Mark and Mark, that's part of our team. There's also partnering companies that we're working with right now that are starting to try and help some of these problems. And then we've got subject matter experts that, because we have been in this industry for so long now, we have these subject matter experts who are excited about this idea, just as excited as we are. So when we have somebody who's like a badass service manager from a store, they're going to be a part of these podcasts, and what their experiences are and their ideas are going to be things that our Ownex group, our Ownex One group, this very first one, that's going to be, right, shit, that's a great idea. How do you put it into real execution? And that expert's going to have ideas. We're going to have ideas as a group, and we're going to try it. And we're going to see on those daily metrics, did it change? But like, man, there's one guy who I'm really excited about. He's coming in the next few months, and it's an F&I trainer that everybody knows, super badass. Once he gets on the show, then but he's the guy. And I was talking to him the other day, and we were talking about, okay, what does a perfect F&I process look like from a customer perspective? Like, how do we more effectively present things? How do we want things laid out? What should it look like physically? What software should we be using? What should we be saying? Like, and so we're talking through this stuff, and he's running me through the normal training stuff that he always does, like the same lines that we do, which I do too. You know, I'm a service trainer. So like, oh, I'm going to tell you the same, like this role does this thing, and it makes sense. And then I stopped and I said, okay, you're talking about what exists right now. Throw all that out. Imagine, like, think of the things that when you lay in bed at night and you go, man, you know, it'd be really cool is if they did this. But it takes such a shift that no store is willing to say, you know what, I'm hiring you as a trainer because I want you to move the needle for me right now. And as a trainer, I'm going to come in and I'm going to sing the classics, and that's going to move the needle because I know it will. But if I came in and said, okay, here's some new crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants that and nobody's excited about that, but that's what this is. So when I bring in that F&I trainer who's like, okay, crazy ideas, like, let's throw crazy ideas around. That's what this, I think, is going to be exciting, is like, well, what's something you're going to try? And then we go try it and we come back and we say, holy crap, dude, this is what it did. This is the experience it created.
Yeah, no. And I think that one of the fun parts about old 20 groups was you did get in a group with a bunch of people who had good ideas. And when you left those meetings, you were excited to try them. You were like, that was the whole plan. This dealership's going to go try this and it's going to report back in a quarter. But there was nobody holding that dealership accountable for that performance or for the execution of that plan. And it wasn't written down, and it wasn't. And so what happened is you'd go back to your store and you'd hit your staff like a freight train. and super excitement. And by day 5, it just whatever, just go back to doing the same thing because we know that thing works. And or maybe it doesn't work well, but it works on the predictable level of what it's been doing. And so I think that this is that, but we also have a daily check-in, a bi-monthly meeting where they report, where we're working up on a quarterly delve analysis where you're the guy, like you're talking about it in the meeting. I think that's a really cool opportunity to like try some new things and see their direct effect immediately. So you can get the stores that are in trouble up to a not in trouble anymore level just by singing the classics. And then you can get that icing on the cake that we've been missing for a long time by modifying some new stuff. Because you're right. I think that overall the customer experience is poor. And here's the crazy thing. That's at my store. And I feel like my store does a good job. I think they do a good job. I've got caring employees that worked there for a really long time. I watch them. They're working. They're trying their best. And if I as well, we were talking about therapy earlier, I have done some of that and have been able to remove myself sometimes from situations where I put myself in my customer's shoes. I mean, it's normal. It's the same experience you can get anywhere else, but it isn't better. Right. And this whole time we've been selling motorcycles, right? You have let's say European. I know we're talking to a lot of other, but let's say European because it's where most of my experience is. And for a lot of times you got two dealers that are comparing similar units at similar prices. And a customer says, well, why would I buy from you than somebody else? Right. And we've always said, because we're better. You get me. You don't get me over there. Right. You get me. Well, you know what? That doesn't mean anything if me doesn't have anything different to offer. Because we're not better. And I hate to say that. I mean, I love my store. My staff is friendly. We do a good job taking care of our customers, but rubber meets the road. I don't think we are better, and we need to be better.
I hear you being very vulnerable and sharing that. I agree even in this case too, but I think the right word is not, we're not better. It's just that we're not different. Like it's gotten to the point where the experience you have in every dealership is the same experience. And it's, that is because the industry has elevated. Like we've gotten from 2010, the experience from then till now has hopefully improved. There's been more tools. There's been a little bit more, but
we're less judgmental. Yeah. I mean, like we're a little bit more inclusive. So yeah.
And here's the thing that came.
I think the biggest thing about the experience is not necessarily different. It's not consistent anywhere. You can have the best experience and somebody else can have the worst experience in the same day at the same dealership. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where all dealerships are the same.
Sure.
Is there's just a lack of consistency, and the better dealerships are probably just more consistent.
Yeah.
Are they good? Maybe not, but they're consistent.
Yeah. Yeah. When you said
more consistent,
when you said you come to me because I'm better or I'm different in any particular way. What I think of is you're trying to convince someone to buy the toy for you, because you're saying not just the buying experience of the toys be better, but you are going to enjoy the toy more because it's more.
Right.
When in reality, that sales guy is going to sell that toy and then not give a shit.
Totally.
And then go to the next guy to sell another toy.
100%.
One customer is going to the service. They're going to get handed off to someone different, a different department, a different engagement entirely. And that engagement isn't going to be the same amount of time. Like that advisor or that salesperson can spend hours talking to that customer, making a friend, building value, understanding their goals and how they want to ride, and who's going to ride with them and all that stuff and their full friend group. But that guy's not involved in the ownership experience of the vehicle. That goes to the service guy. And the service advisor is like, I don't have an hour to spend with you to make friends. I have 5 minutes.
Do you know what's really funny though? At least in my store, and I've seen it in others, my service writer is most likely to remember that guy's name.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Whereas my sales guy who spent all the time with him will be like, yeah, dude with the guy bike, with the black one. Like, right. And the service writer is like, oh, you mean Mr. Mahoney? Oh yeah. Well, he's going to be late today because he has to pick up his wife from her dialysis treatment. And I'm like, like, right. And that guy's got the shortest amount of time, but like, that's what you've got to bring to the whole store. And I think that's what we get into. And from an Ownex perspective, at least every decision that I am involved in making while we're talking in that company is based around that side. Right.
Yeah.
Like we have a lot of really big programs going on, but for me, how do I get that to my staff, make them care about it? And how does that reflect to the customer? It's always been just paramount. Is that because, like, dude, the crazy part is we are explaining how to make it look like how we actually are. So like, how do you increase a customer experience with a staff that is only doing this because they love doing it and they want other people to love doing it? And that isn't being translated because of process.
Yeah. What happens when they loving it? Because it's actually a lot of work.
Well, fair.
Hard. And so how do you, I mean, I think that's all a part. I think that's a part of what we need to figure out is like, I talk service advisors a lot, right? Because that's the role that I often get in when I'm in a store. I've been training it forever. Dude, like it's so incredibly overwhelming just to be in that role and to do that job because the processes require so much work. It's so much work to create the repair order, to put the jobs on a ticket, to make sure the parts are there, to dispatch the work. You got to make sure we're getting photos and signatures and tagging stuff, and then checking customers out, building quotes, selling the quotes, delivering the unit. That's for every single bike.
Setting the schedule, making sure parts are pulled.
And then
it's the hardest job in the store. The hardest job in the store.
You got to tell them, hey, you got to have a smile on your face when that customer comes in, and you got to give them a lot of time to make a friend and build trust. So do that stuff and be calm and enjoy Skippy. And like, so literally that's a conversation I had to have yesterday of like,
most of them are all those things.
So the solution, it sounds like, isn't just say, hey, perk up Skippy or do your damn job. Like we've heard a lot of Expo. It isn't about just tell them to do the thing we told them. It is, how do we take the things off of their plate that are overwhelming, or the things that can be delegated? How do they come off the plate? How can we automate the things that are slowing them down dramatically? So like one example of what we're trying to do in this store, and I'm not saying we have the solution. This is the part of the group is like, we're trying to menu all of our services and make it easy enough for not just a service advisor to be able to say, oh, you have this vehicle, this year, this make, this model, it's going to be this much in money. I want a customer to be able to say, oh, I own a Ducati. I forget what brand or what model it is. That's the extreme case there. I forget which model it is, but it's this displacement, or it's like the small one or the big one. And it's my first time coming in. And like, this is the price. We're trying to simplify it to the fast food delivery model, where if I can build that quote as an advisor very, very, very quickly, then I just made 15 more minutes to spend with that customer. And so who knows if we can accomplish that? That's what we're trying. And that's what we're doing with this group. And then we're going to share it in these things. But I think we need to, this is about
all the way down to, it boils all the way down to the general manager making the right amount of time so that he can build the templates, to do the things, to put it in importance. And that's what the group is about. So, and I know we've been talking about, but that's what it's about. It's like, hey, great idea. Menus, great idea. Let's cut down what every person in every department has to do on what hour of what day so they can actually get it done while they're being barraged by phone calls and incoming customers, because those aren't going to go away. So, and if you break things down into small enough chunks and hold people accountable for those, it gets done. It gets done. It's just, we don't have that structure set up very often anymore in the industry. There are dealers that do it. There's dealers that I talk to frequently that I would just love to get the secret sauce. But really what it is that they've always operated that way. And most likely it's the same staff that's always operated that way. And they have a really connected general manager. And so that's what we're building. We're giving, look at it as general manager, elevating. We can look at it as multi-dealer tool usage through single dealer ownership, like whatever you want to look at it from. it's a huge support network that has a lot of extra tools that are based around actual results, not ethereal ideas. It's numbers based around
Well,
improving yesterday's numbers with today's numbers.
yeah, theories or theories are what start this. Like we
Well,
are going to,
yeah, but no, for sure.
Absolutely.
But like they're only as good as the execution. That's what I guess that's what I meant is that the ethereal idea is where it stops normally. That's where you get that out. This is the execution of that idea.
The amount of genius ideas that we had in 20 club meetings that actually never ended up happening because to execute them was too hard. And there was nobody on a weekly basis saying, okay, and you accomplished what with that? Like,
yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Some of those ideas we are using today, you and me, because we didn't forget them. And it has taken 10 years for us to learn the skill set to execute the ideas because they're still good ideas. I remember all the great ideas from my years in a 20 group. I remember all of them. And I sometimes, because of head trauma, remember us actually doing them. Right. And then I'm like, oh God, no, we never actually did that. We never actually executed that. And that is like, oh, we should. It would be so easy because now I know how. Right.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, cool. Hey, this was great. So we'll do these. I think what's going to be nice is we get to meet with these other GMs 2 meetings a month. So we're talking 3 hours of like actual meeting with them and like talking about kind of getting inspired. That's not enough time. And so I want to keep meeting in these podcasts as a way for us to have kind of our conversations that we want them to be involved in, but we know that like we can't pull them out of work that much. So instead we go, okay, look, we're going to record these and we're going to have guests on. We're going to have the GMs of those stores on to have like individual conversations about that. And that stuff gets shared back with the group so that the group can like on their way into work, then go, man, I really got to get like inspired on this, or I got to catch up on some story. And I can just like listen to this podcast on my drive in. And now I'm kind of reinvigorated or thinking about that thing a little differently than I did before, or, some process we were tweaking on, but now somebody came up with some new idea. And that's how we make sure that this information continues to share consistently for everybody.
Yeah, agreed. And you get $1 million ideas from it, like AIFeedFinder.com. And like that's priceless, bro. It's priceless on the podcast.
But if you can actually do it, you see, great idea. Never executed.
Great idea. Never executed. We can give you the steps though. You sign in next week. We'll have the breakdown accountability steps for how to create an AI OnlyFans for
sign up for my Archangels. That's it. All right.
On that note,
dude,
see you guys later.
Next time.